Have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged.
What if I told you there was only one spiritual law you needed to implement to become the master of your own reality? One law, and everything else falls into place. Hey guys, it's Sarah. I'm back, and today I want to do a deep dive into a subject of the most powerful spiritual law there is. So what is it? As above, so below, also known as the law of correspondence. So what does it mean and where does it come from? As above, so below is the second verse of the Emerald Tablet. This is an ancient hermetic law that explains how reality is created. The idea is that there are different levels of reality, that there's our earthly dimensional plane, and then there's the etheric or spiritual plane or quantum field, whatever you want to call it, and that there's a microcosm and a macrocosm. And both planes of existence are linked to each other and cannot exist without the other. Our reality here on earth is a mirror of the spiritual world. Everything is a reflection and everything is mirrored back to you. Since this verse can be traced to the Emerald Tablet, what is the Emerald Tablet and where did it come from? So this tablet claims to be written by a guy named Hermes Trismegistus, who is a central figure to a lot of writings of Hermeticism. Hermeticism is ancient spirituality. It's not a religion, and it was more of a movement. It later influenced alchemical writings, and disclaimer, Hermes Trismegistus likely did not exist and wasn't a real person. He was this Hellenistic figure, and the texts attributed to him are called the Hermetica. And that goes all the way back to the 2nd and 3rd century BC in Egypt. He's also believed to have been kind of a mashup, the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. The Emerald Tablet, which was also called Smaragdine Tablet or Tabula Smaragdina, the text on the Emerald Tablet was written in Arabic, and it then got translated into Latin, going back to the 8th or 9th century. So different manuscripts of it kept reappearing, but it is thought to originally have been this emerald green table that was inscribed with the laws of the universe, explaining how reality works. It was really influential, so that it was incorporated into other important spiritual books about alchemy and even art, as you see through the medieval age and even later into the Renaissance age. Let's look at a popular translation. True it is without falsehood, certain and most true, that which is above is like to that which is below, and that which is below is like to that which is above, to accomplish the miracles of one thing. And as all things were by contemplation of one, so all things arose from this one thing by a single act of adaptation. The father thereof is the sun, the mother the moon, the wind carried in its womb, the earth is the nurse thereof. It is the father of all works of wonder throughout the whole world. The power thereof is perfect. It is cast unto earth, it will separate the element of earth from that of the fire, the subtle from the gross. With great sagacity it doth ascend gently from earth to heaven. Again it doth descend to earth, and uniteth in itself the force from things superior and things inferior. Thus thou wilt possess the glory of the brightness of the whole world, and all obscurity will fly far from thee. This thing is the strong fortitude of all strength, for it overcometh every subtle thing, and doth penetrate every solid substance. Thus was this world created. Hence will there be marvelous adaptations achieved, of which the manner is this. For this reason I am called Hermes Trismegistus, because I hold 3 parts of the wisdom of the whole world. That which I had to say about the operation of soul is completed. So then in the last century there was an infamous little book that appeared, and it's called the Kebalian, and it draws a lot from the Emerald Tablets, and it had a lot of influence on modern esotericism. A lot of that new agey law of attraction stuff is kind of a watered down version to these more ancient laws. So that was a little history lesson. Now let's get back to as above, so below. So how do we actually apply this law in real life? I think before we do anything at all, we have to acknowledge that we don't see everything in our physical reality, and that this whole 3D realm is just a piece of something much bigger. if we're permanently entangled with the spiritual plane, and if those two dimensions are mirror images of one another, that tells us we have to completely switch up how we perceive the world and everything that is happening around us. So if what we see is just a reflection of our past intentions and energy, we can change it. That means we can start to care less of what we currently see and just change ourselves, knowing that what exists here has to exist in the spiritual realm first, because it gets mirrored back into our physical reality. So in a more direct sense, we have to shift our energy completely and not fall into this reactive consciousness where you just react to all the things you don't like, and instead shift the beliefs we have and embody the change. Because that way, that energy that you're sending outwards is going to come back and change the circumstances around you. This is really what this means. And I want you to take a look at this tarot card, the Magician, which is card number 1 in the major arcana. Just look at the image. First of all, the meaning of the card is to put out your will and to make things happen. It's really an archetype for that. So now if you look at the symbolism, you see the hand position, pointing up and pointing down. Well, he's holding a wand, meaning he's guiding the energy, the intention upwards to the sky, into the spiritual world. And the Magician is on the physical plane, putting out his intention out in the universe, pointing down below on earth. And then he has the infinity symbol above his head, representing that this is an infinite cycle. So, this whole concept may seem like old news to some of you, but I honestly think most people are either not fully understanding it or not applying it correctly, and then just say, oh, it doesn't work. And for me personally, for the longest time, I didn't grasp how to embody a shift like this fully. In the past, I was way too attached to this reality and reacting way too much, which is really what kills the whole process of your manifestation. The reminder that this reality is just a small fraction of something much bigger that we are not able to fully perceive is really important, because it means that you don't have to get discouraged when things aren't happening the way you want them to right away. I mentioned in other videos, I'm a pranic healer, and one of the things I learned early is that any condition or disease shows up in the energy body way before the person gets symptoms. So let me tell you this, I have found this to be absolutely correct. I've healed people for one thing and noticed something completely different in them, and then that thing would show up days later. And our reality works the same way. The energy has to shift first for the change to occur and be visible. You send it upwards to the universe, to God, whatever you want to call it, where it will then get mirrored back into our reality. That is really my takeaway from this, to not get discouraged and not get distracted by your current circumstances, and just focus on that shift and that energy, and to realize that this reality is not all we see, and there's a whole other reality out there that is invisible to us, and this is what gets mirrored back to us. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, like and subscribe. I have all my other links below in the description box, so if you want to work with me directly, go on the connect with me link, which will then set up a free call with me where we can talk about how we can work together and how I can help you. Or you may want to try out my Money Magnetizer Toolkit, which is the super cool toolkit I developed for you to manifest specific amounts into your life, and really takes you from the process of intention setting all the way through alignment, and gives you all the tools, all the exercises, so that your manifestation can appear. And then also, if you just want to work on your money blockages and resolve some blockages you have there, I have my removing money blockages meditation also linked up below, so you can grab that. And I see you in the next video. Bye guys.